So today we are going to be talking about caregiving from afar and how to be present for your parents even when you're miles away. And I'd like to welcome Ashish Gupta, who is the CEO and founder of Samarth. And Samarth is actually one of Desi daughter's sponsors, so we're really appreciative of that. Thank you. Let's start off by hearing a little more about you, Ashish, and then we can go into the questions.
Sure. So thank you very much. Thanks, Sonia. Thanks, Selena, and thank you everyone for joining in today. Um, I know the fact that you are here means that this is a topic which is close to your heart. Uh, so quickly about me, I mean, look, I'm not an expert, nor am I a guru on anything. I'm a son and son-in-law or a child like many of you, who has just had the benefit now of having been involved in looking after parents and elderly, both in their own family and now thousands of others who we have supported and continue to support over the last 10 years. Uh, by profession, I mean, I was an engineer. I went to IIT Kanpur, did some work in with Halliburton, then went to IIM Calcutta and was with McKinsey for a good part of my career. Uh, so, like you, I spent a lot of my time overseas, but decided to come back once our daughter was born. We wanted her to grow up in India. And then over the last almost 25 years, I've been an entrepreneur in media and then worked in education, was involved with setting up a few universities, served as a pro-vice chancellor for a couple of them. And for last 10 years, really, Samarth has been the center of my work. And it wasn't a business that I had planned or, something that we co-founders were looking to do. It was born more out of our own sort of frustration with not being able to find the kind of care and support that we wanted for our parents. And so we said, look, let's put our collective experience and knowledge to some use and try to see if we can do something. And over the last 9-10 years, we've now become reasonably, I think, good at it, if I say that myself. uh, we now serve in about 350 cities in India and have clients in 33 countries, Indians whose parents we look after in India. So that's a little bit about me. I have two daughters and one wife, and we live in Gurgaon.
I'm glad you got that right. Two daughters and one wife. Well, thank you, Ashish. That was a really great intro. So in your experience, and you say Samarth has been in service for about 10 years. What are some of the primary expectations from elders in terms of types of care and needs when the immediate family is living far away from home?
Yeah. So I think this was the first question that we tried to answer as we started. Given our own sort of background, one of my co-founders is an economist, and I've been working in consulting, and so we said, look, let's first find the problem, and that's what you're asking. What is the problem that we should solve for? And so we did a fairly large research when we started with about 1,000 people. These were elderly in India, children like us in India and outside. And we asked the same question, look, what is the expectation? What would make life better? Both for elderly and actually for children, people like us. And the answer was extremely insightful. And I think that's what has kind of shaped our journey so far. So if I were to ask a set of people like me, and you all can play out this question and answer in your own mind, what do you think you want to do for your parents to make their life better? The answer we got from most children was, things like, oh, somebody should be there in case of emergency, their health needs, going to doctors, their safety, chores at home. If you think about it, most of the times we think of the physical issues, the physical challenges, the physical needs. The response we got from the elderly was actually quite striking and strikingly different. For them, the big needs were not just the physical needs, but they were more social and emotional. And over time, as we figured out, they are not too many. I mean, there are three needs. You know, they want people to talk to, which we all said, look, we understood, it was intuitively clear to us. But the second one, which was places to go to, which wasn't as apparent to us before we started. And so they really miss the opportunities to go out, meet people, and we underestimate what lack of a reduced mobility does for them, right? So that is the other thing that they need. And the third, and perhaps the most important thing that they feel the need for, is the need to be needed. You know, uh, that people still need me, that I still am serving a useful purpose. And again, if you reflect on it, I mean, it's not hard to make out, because if you've seen elderly or older people who older adults, once they retire, if they don't have something purposeful to do, then very quickly, this they go into decline, their health declines, their mental wellness and well-being declines. And so having this sense that, look, people still need me, is very important. And so the expectations, if you will, are, you know of course they are, or the need, I would say. I mean, I'll qualify the thing about expectation, because if you and I ask our parents what do they need, they will say, look, we are fine, we don't need anything. I don't know if it happens to you, but it happens to me all the time. My father is 85, my mother is 79, and they would say, look, we are all fine, we don't need you. The reality is something else. So they will never set out any expectations, but their needs are physical. These three things are what we now call the three joys. So these are three things which make them happy: people to talk to, places to go to, and to feel needed. There are two worries that they have. One is about health, because again, you would have heard them talk and say so, that in Hindi they say, "Bhai, hamare haath pav chalte firte rahe," right? They're so keen that they continue to support themselves. And the second is about money matters. And this, by the way, is not related to any social strata or how much money they have or don't have. It's just that they are happy to spend money on grandchildren, sometimes on children, but spending money on themselves, doesn't come easy to them. So those are the two worries they have. And the one biggest wish or hope they have is to continue to stay independent, right? So at least we see the expectations or the needs of the elderly in this frame. We call it the 1, 2, 3 framework, the one wish, two worries, and three joys. So that is what, as children and close family, is one frame to think about how to provision care or how to support our parents. If you can help increase their joy, enhance their joy, if you can reduce their two worries that play on their mind, and if you can help fulfill that wish of continuing to feel independent, that is, in our opinion or our view or our experience, the primary expectations elders have.
Okay, very interesting. So what can families do if they live afar with a one,
So
two,
I think,
three?
yeah. So look, again, I can perhaps exemplify this a little bit. Oftentimes when my parents stay away. My brother and I, we stay in Delhi. He's a doctor. We Before I started Samarth, we used to sort of try to convince them to come and stay with us, or at least take an apartment here. And we said, look, how convenient it will be for you, not realizing that it will be convenient for us and not for them. And they would very steadfastly say, look, no, we want to live in our own home. And later on, after this research and after the work, I realized why it is so. So I think, one, we have to reconcile to certain ideas that or certain beliefs that they have, which are hard to change, right? So respecting the need for independence, right? Acknowledging the worries that they have and doing things which will increase joy is what we should do. Now, how do you do that? uh, Trying to force support of them rarely works. You can't really force support, and you can, if you parachute in and say, look, let me fix things for you, let me do this for you, let me do that for you, usually, you know we I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if one faces rejection, sometimes even anger, right? And we worry, we wonder why is it, we are trying to be helpful, but why are they not taking help? It is because it is affecting their need for independence. So I think recognizing these and offering care around it is what one needs to do. So one has to provide care in a way that it still makes them feel that they are in control, right? That it is not overwhelming them and taking away their sense of independence. Uh, I think providing things and doing, so, they are happy when we call, they are happy when we are visiting them. Now, it is because it helps enhance one of their joys. They like the fact that they like to talk to people, they like to see family. Creating opportunities for them to go out, making it easy for them to go out, right? Uh, Recognizing maybe one or two things which will give them a sense of purpose. See, in India, I mean, I'm sure all of you have family in India and have spent time in India. For most people of my parents' generation, their life has been around taking care of children, making sure that they grow well, they are well educated, so they're devoted to children. After that, one of the spouses devoted to the other, and their main purpose becomes, taking care of each other, their job, their careers. And once that goes away, there's a big vacuum. And so as children, I mean, we have to think about what is it that will fill that void. Are there old hobbies, are there old interests, and are there ways that we can make it easy for them to pursue that, right? So I think that would be my sort of answer to this. That's what we try to do, and we've seen that it makes a difference.
Okay. So to get to that point, how do families assess when support is needed, and how can they strengthen that support system?
So, a few things. One is, I mean, there are 4 or 5 markers when you can see that they are requiring some kind of support. Uh, they will rarely acknowledge it. They will rarely say it on their own because they're all proud people. They don't want to be seen as dependent in any way. But some of the markers are if they've had an emergency or a health event, right? Then clearly it reduces their ability to do a bunch of things. If they are showing signs of frailty or weakness, right? Medically, I mean, we all know that as people age, they lose muscle mass, they are unable to do things, or things which were easy for them become difficult, right? And so clearly they need help and support, right? If they need to be reminded to get things done, right? That's a sign that some sort of support is needed. If you see them facing isolation or depression, suddenly friends go away, or people that they were meeting earlier, they are not meeting anymore. And I think a very big important sign is if they have, if you see reduced self-care, if they've stopped looking after themselves, I could see that in my home. My mother was a very proud homemaker, and she was extremely particular about cleanliness. Things have to be exactly like that. And then gradually I could see that, look, she's not that particular anymore, and the things were not as prim and proper anymore, and she was, you know see, because her ability to do that was falling away. And so these are some signs to look for, and it will tell you that there's now an opportunity. I would not say a need, but there's an opportunity for us to step in. See, one of the things we do oftentimes, and this is like my pain point as we serve clients, is that people act too late. They do something when either an event has taken place or a fall has happened. I think in this, particularly if you are afar, the idea should be to prevent, to prepare, to act early. The worst time to address an emergency is when the emergency has happened, right? So I think doing this early, providing and creating a sort of safety net early is what can actually keep them independent for much longer. So from a variety of perspectives about enhancing and increasing their independence, on ensuring that their quality of life doesn't sort of decline very quickly, and even in terms of cost and expenses, prevention, acting early is what I would say. Anybody who's not with their aging parents needs to think, right? The other thing is that, look, care is not it's not a solo sport. It's a team effort. uh, and creating that ecosystem of support where the family, the elderly, and we ourselves are not just dependent on one person or one thing is, I think, important. Because then collectively, even among brothers, siblings, if we share the responsibility and the joy of care, then I think and do that early. That's much more effective and impactful.
I'm glad you touched on those 2 points. Well, one is kind of trying to detect it early, because I can say for myself, even though my parents weren't living in India, we were just living about 34 minutes apart here in the US. But when they were living on their own, it's something that I think about now, that even 10 years ago, I didn't really see my parents aging. They always looked the same. They were same, from when I was little, as long as I can remember
Yeah,
far back. They never seemed to be aging because they were independent. But boom, something happened, my mom's
yeah,
to my mom, and that's when it all started. So key is to prepare and really think about things early on, because it is inevitable, not that they would get sick, but they are going to age and they are going to need some
right.
sort of help. And two, yes, if you have siblings, it's really important to have these conversations really early,
Early.
as early as you can even, you know, at the point where you're thinking about your parents aging, that's when you start talking to your siblings, because it is, it's always one person that's ends up doing the majority of the care and taking on the
Yeah.
responsibility. And I can tell you from experience, it's very
No, no,
difficult
I
to have
know.
the entire responsibility on yourself.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I'm
I
glad you
know.
hit on those points.
Right. And there was and again, this is a very culture specific aspect where
Mhm.
historically, uh, it was the children's responsibility to look after parents.
Yeah,
And taking any sort of support or external help was almost considered kind of,
taboo.
shirking your responsibility. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah.
kind of
I think
shameful.
that Right, right. But I think, that norm is also changing because,
Mhm.
uh, you know, both parents and children are much more pragmatic now. I mean, it's not that it's lack of love or lack of, willingness to do something which comes in the way. It's just that life is, more complex, more complicated now. I see families balancing the needs from the parent side for the children, and you're caught in between. So and yet you want to do more. You want to make sure that your parents are safe, your parents are taken care of, they're happy, they're healthy, right? And so at least my advice to everyone is that, look, there are some things only you can do, right? The nobody else can replace the love of a child, the years of togetherness that children have had with their parents, and this emotional bond that is there. you know s- Focus your energy on nurturing that. I see too many times when there are people who are, caring from afar, and their calls are about tasks. Their calls are not about anything else. They're saying, look, have you done this? Has this happened? Right? So all the time they are chasing tasks. Even when they visit, they have a list of things to be done. And so if they're here for 2 weeks, they're here for, whatever time, they're chasing tasks, they're doing this, they're setting up this. And so the real, you know, the quality time that they can spend together with their parents doesn't really happen. Yeah. So the whole idea, at least our idea, is that if we can take away that part of the, kind of responsibility, which is not kind of, emotionally involving in the same way, then it also ensures that the children can focus their effort on making, their parents happy, and they also feel happy themselves.
Exactly. So, you've got so much experience. So how does Samarth fit into the support system? And we'd really like to know how we can access your services, what the steps are for families to take if they would like to get to your services.
I can, I have a couple of charts I can walk through that.
Please.
But overall, what we do is we create a care team and an ecosystem of support for every family, so that parents can age at their own home, and they have like a safety net and a support system for whatever their need may be. And we know each family has the needs are different, so uh, we customize what support we are providing according to what the need is. And it's, think about it as if, if you had a sister who was living close to your parents and was resourceful and was ready and, willing to do whatever was required, you will sleep well, and you will feel much more comforted, and you'll have peace of mind. So that is typically, I mean, that's one way of thinking about what we do. So whatever a child would do for their parents is something, we do. But if you allow me to just walk you through some of this stuff, then I could, just trying to see. Yeah. Is my screen visible?
Yeah. Do you want to put
Yeah.
it on presentation?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
There we go. Perfect.
So I'm going to play a little video so you get an idea of what we work. How is it audible? Was it audible, Sonia? No? So let me share this again. It's a short film, but it'll tell you at least how we think about. Yeah.
Never got sick, never stopped doing what's best for us, are turning old. Yes, they are. You know it. So do we. It's hard to believe, right? The once mighty arms that could lift anything, even you, are turning weak. The lips that commanded attention, discipline, and dedication are slowly trembling. The infectious energy that kept the entire home in order is wearing. The ones who took care of us through sickness and health now need care from us. But you cannot be with them all the time. You too have to lay the foundation, pay your taxes, build your own family. You have to now step into your parents' shoes. This is where we at Samarth step in. Present in over 350 cities across India, we extend our services to Indians in over 30 countries. We have a team of more than 350 care professionals and a network of emergency ambulances, hospitals, clinics, and providers across the country to provide healthcare for your loved ones. We help you take care of your parents even when you're not there. We make regular visits, keep a tab on their health and safety, take them for their appointments, help them pursue their interests, provide companionship so they are assured that their children are always around to look after them. We take care of them the way you want to, and we keep you updated from every interaction we have so you don't miss out on anything. With Samarth, you no longer wonder if you're doing enough. You're proud that you're doing so much more. Samarth makes your best efforts even bigger and your biggest worries a little smaller. Samarth, touching hearts, enriching lives.
So I hope this gave you a sense of how we think about care. As I was saying, there are six broad care pillars around which our services are sort of built. Am I audible, Sonia?
Yes, we can hear you. I can hear
Okay.
you.
Oh, okay. All right.
There is
So
a
these are the
black spot at the like a banner at the top. Is that you? Is that something you
I
can
don't know
get?
how I can.
Okay, that's fine. I think
Hmm?
it's fine if
I,
you can't remove it. I don't know
if
where
I
that
let
came
me see
from.
if I can. Yeah, maybe I can. Yeah, is it better now? Is it gone now?
It's just moved to the middle. Oh, there we go. All
Okay.
gone.
All right.
All done.
So there are six broad care pillars around which we configure our services. So there's emergency support, which means anything end to end from getting medical help at home, getting them to the hospital, taking care of whatever is required at the hospital. If they have to be admitted, then supporting with that or whatever. We do all of that. The second is, and the whole aspect of healthcare, from as simple as ensuring medicines are there to making sure that they are following the and having them tests. Sometimes they avoid tests or they don't go to clinics or hospitals because it's just hard to go and navigate. So we accompany them if required to the hospitals and clinics. Anything to do with safety and security. At one end, making sure that the home is fall proof, because we all know the consequences of a fall, to security, which is a reasonably important concern in most Indian cities. And for elderly who are vulnerable, it's not only from people who are outside, but also people who are inside, working staff, etc. So we take care of that with you know police verifications if needed, to the extent of setting up CCTV cameras, etc. when they are totally dependent or on the home staff. Then there are a whole range of convenience needs. This could be from as simple as making sure bills are paid to internet is up, to important things like repairs, maintenance, insurance. Over the 10 years, there are very few things which we have not done. So whether it is passports, visas, life certificates, other documentation, etc., we've done that all for families. Home care in many cases becomes a necessity, where you need either an attendant or a nurse or physio or doctors to visit at home. So we look after that aspect and provide that. And I think a very important part is companionship, because as I discussed, the social and emotional need is equally important, if not more, for most families. And therefore, the people who work with us, we call them care managers, are also people like us. So in the video, you heard 350. It's an old number. The number is now about 600. And these are people like us in terms of, socioeconomic, educational background. So we have, former teachers, bankers, engineers, some PhDs who work with us as care managers. And for them, it's a way of contributing in an impactful profession. So we pay them well, but you know they're not doing it only for money. For them, it's an important part of fulfilling their own desire and need to do something high impact. And given their background and profile, they are able to connect with the families, with the elderly, exactly like their children. And that's therefore the kind of relationship that we are able to build and offer. It's got stuck. Okay. This, I think, most of the things you saw. We have always believed that care is, you can't provide care remotely, and you can't do that only by tech, even though tech plays a very, very critical and important part in ensuring, visibility, efficiency, and reliability in the system. But touch is an extremely important part of care, and that's why the kind of people, the kind of processes are very, very important to us. This is a little bit how it works, right? So for every family, there's a delivery team, which is anchored by a care leader and a care counselor who, as I was saying, comes from similar backgrounds, live close by to wherever your parents are. So whichever city they are in, we would have a care counselor, close in the vicinity, who'll be attached to the family, who'll be visiting the parents, and in some ways, be uh, doing things and looking after things on your behalf. So oftentimes, I don't know if you've noticed, our parents would tell us what they want to tell us, right? So sometimes we don't even come to know that there was an opportunity where we could help. I could give you my own examples on these kind of things, but I'm sure all of you have these as well. So between the care counselor and the care leader, they make sure that whatever you want to do, whatever our learnings and best practices are applied with the family, and they are supported by a central team, our experts, people who know, for example, healthcare very well, insurance very well. We have our own doctors, physicians, geriatricians, nutritionists, physiotherapists, etc. We have our own clinic called Samarth Clinic for Healthy Aging, and that provides support to all the families under our care remotely and locally. We have networks of doctors, etc., who are brought in. We also have a 24/7 emergency helpline. So God forbid, middle of night, there's an emergency. So everybody knows that there is a response team which will get activated, and we set up emergency protocols, etc., early on so that we all know what's to be done. And all this is available to children, through a mobile app where you can see what is going on. Every interaction we have, whether it is physical or over the phone, gets reported, so what's going on. What is the status, what is the question that are my parents well is answered. You'll have an answer all the time, and you can chat with other members of the care team and requests for tasks, etc. So it's one place where you have complete visibility, and your siblings or the other family members who you want to add to the care team can all become a part of it and have access to this. I'm not going to go through this, but suffice to say that this page has a list of about 50, 60 things. And these are examples of what we do under emergency, healthcare, engagement, safety, security, convenience. But the principle is that, look, whether it's a list of 60, whether it's a list of 100, if there is a 101st thing or 102nd thing, like you as a daughter would not say, look, I can only do this, but for this you find another daughter. We take the same approach. So if there's a different thing, we will go ahead and do it, and do it as well as a son or daughter would do. This again is it basically tells you there's method in the madness. So it's not just that we are waiting for things to happen. There's a care journey which we have also evolved, which incorporates our experience of now helping thousands of families across the country over the last 10 years. And so, we have things like emergency protocols, health monitoring calendars, a care plan that we agree early on with the family and refine periodically, audits that we do at the home to make sure it is safe, secure, reporting, information vault, right? So all of these things are part of best practices that we bring to bear in addition to responding to any challenge or any situation or any opportunity that may arise, right? And we customize service, we help with conditions like dementia, other health conditions, etc. We cover non-metro town. I mean, this was one of the questions which actually was asked about, which towns we are in. So, well, we are there in 350 cities. You will see this is a partial list of cities, but you'll see that other than all major cities, we serve even in very, very small towns like Haldwani and Lansdowne and Navsari, etc. So, we have pretty much, cover the whole of the country, at least the cities. Yeah. There's also a benefit for the parents because, while our desire is to offer care, parents, as we discussed earlier, I mean, they want independence. They want to, look at things from their own perspective. So they become part of our community. We have a privilege program which helps them engage with others, like-minded elderly or older adults in their vicinity across the country or online. There are events that happen, there are local meetups that happen. We publish a magazine, we have a very active WhatsApp channel because we recognize that's how many elderly consume their content. So they also, have something which is exclusively for themselves. So I'll just repeat what I said earlier. If you've had any of these signs, you've had an emergency, your parents are showing signs of frailty and weakness, need to be reminded to get things done, have they have started to avoid looking after themselves, then it is time to start thinking about, care, because the implications of any event in terms of the stress, unplanned trips, cost, hassles, and above all, I think the anxiety of not knowing if they are well, uh, you know, uh, justifies putting an essential safety net together. Yeah. So I'll stop here, and I'm happy to, if there are.
Yes, thank you so
Yes.
much, Ashish. If anyone has any questions, please go ahead and ask.